So first of all, of course, a big thank you again for USA Hockey for letting me come over here. It's been a tremendous 2 days learning and listening to everybody who has been speaking over here, and it's always a learning experience for me, especially the mental side into which I believe firmly, and it's a big base also in my own work. Today there's going to be an ice session which is going to go into my real work in a way. So I'm working as a head coach for the national team at the moment, and we are focusing a lot on individual player development in our whole country, and that was what I did also in Lahti for our under 20 team, and that's going to be the base for the ice practice today. But on the side also, I've been working as a mentor goalie coach for the IIHF for the past 6 years due to my background as a goalie. So I'm a little bit stupid, I'm a little bit weird, all goalies are, and I think that we have to acknowledge that one also. But unfortunately, no team will win without an efficient goalie. And I'm going to go through a little bit about the Finnish structure, just like Ken told, and how we develop our goalie coaches in Finland. And of course, when we develop our goalie coaches, that goes directly to the goalies. And this is pretty much the reason why I'm over here. These are 11 Finnish Nhl Starters from the last 12 or 15 years. Actually, there are a few more also at the moment, but there's Antti Niemi, there's Pekka Rinne, Mikko Kiprusov, Pasi Nurminen, Karri Rämö, Niklas Bäckström, Antero Niittymäki, Fredrik Norrena, Vesa Toskala, and then Tuukka Raske and Kari Lehtonen. Which is a little bit weird about these ones, or I don't know, weird, but only Tuukka Raske and Kari Lehtonen, the two in the middle, they are the ones who were first round draft picks. And they're the only ones out of these 11 who were big stars in youth hockey and junior hockey in Finland. All the other ones who have become starters made the NHL when they were way over 24. And actually, for example, Pekka Rinne, who's at the moment probably one of the best goalies in the world, when he was 20, he was the second goalie in our under 20 league in Finland. So he was a backup there in the under 20 league. Then he was a tremendous worker. He has a tremendous work ethic, and then he made it to the men's team to be a backup over there. He played during 2 seasons, 6 games before Nashville got him over to I think it was Norfolk, but he was in the American League and played there for 3 years and worked his way up and has matured and has developed for many years. And at the moment, you can see again, he had a big injury there, being away almost 1 year, came back even better than he was before the injury. And I hope that they're going to win against the Czechs today over in Prague in the World Championships, where he's going to be in the net. So interesting. But we're 5 million people. In Finland, we have 68,000 registered players. Out of those, 33,000 are players under 18, the age under 18. So we don't have such a large pool like you guys have over here. So we have to, in a way, take a little bit different measures if we want to compete with the world, and we want to be best also. We want to be the best country in the world, so we have to develop our own players, and we have to do that in long term, because if we do it only so that we would judge somebody when they're 16 or 18 or 20, we would lose all our players. But I'm going to go through quickly four different sections. So I'll start with the goalie coach with the movie first, because of course I gotta have this one. Kevin has seen these movies probably at least 20 times at the IIHF camps. But I'm going to start with the goalie coach education. But first, a small movie.
Who's the new goalie?
JCPT. Some hotshot they call it from the minors.
Stack them up! Extra maple syrup! Merveilleux! Lovely! See you in the highlight reel? Quick, like a shot! Check. Sensational! Nice try, no goal off.
Yeah. So pretty much you can see goalies, they're a little bit special. I know you. I'm sure you know of that. But about the goalie coaching education of FIHA. So we have an own program for goalie coaching education, and it consists of actually 2 levels and a start course. The start course is a course they run at local clubs for parents that we would get them involved in goalie coaching, because we recognize the significance, the importance that goalie coaching brings for our goalies, and we want all fathers, mothers to get involved, that we have somebody to take care of also of the 7-8-year-old goalies we have in our clubs. The start course is basically just where you go through how you put on pads, how you stand in a basic stance, how you lace your skates up and stuff like that. So really basic stuff. But then there's 2 levels. There's the sport-specific technical and tactical skills, which is run by mentor goalie coaches in 8 regions. We have 8 regions in Finland, and each region has our own mentor goalie coach. So they run these courses inside their regions. And it includes also 2 courses which are in common with normal coaches. So level 1 includes for normal coaches also these 2 physical training courses and sensitive period training courses. Then level 2, the highest education that goalie coaches have in our country, is the holistic coaching of the goalie, and that's run nationwide by our chief goalie coach of FIHA, and that's always once a year. But there's every year a lot of parents coming into the game as goalie coaches, because I don't know why, probably because we have so many NHL goalies. A lot of kids want to be goalies these days. So we need, of course, also a lot of goalie coaches. FIHA has 1 chief goalie coach, so 1 full paid guy, and 8 mentor goalie coaches in 8 regions. They are not full paid. They work in clubs in their own regions. And then we have 4 goalie coaches in our national teams, the under 20, the under 18, the under 17, and the under 16. They are all also working in clubs, so they are not full-time goalie coaches for FIHA. Our education system, our development system is club-based. So we don't have a specific national team program. Our players are all in clubs, and the goal is in each club to develop their own players from the under 8 until the men's professional team. That's the goal. So we talk about a period of, let's say, 10 to 15 years in one club. And we have at the moment 16 major clubs, 15 clubs in the men's SM League, and Jokerit at the moment in the KHL. They started last year over there, and they have also their own junior program. And then we have 12 clubs in men's division 1, which is a semi-professional league. They have also their junior programs, but they are not competing for the Finnish championship. But we start the Finnish championship at the under 16. So under 16, under 17, under 18, and under 20, they compete nationwide for the Finnish championship. Under that, it's only regional games in a way. They play in their own regions. Of course, they have some tournaments also during the season, and they have some kind of final tournament at the end also. But the first Finnish championship is dealt out when they're under 16. Smaller clubs in areas where these bigger SM League clubs are, they are under an umbrella of these SM League clubs. So they develop players for these bigger clubs. In a way, they usually go to these bigger clubs if they're good enough when they're 14 to 15 or something like that. So 1 year before the first Finnish championship. And they run also recreational hockey in older age groups. So we have almost 30,000 registered adult players who play beer leagues and stuff like that. And these smaller clubs run those ones. But the big idea is there that we try to develop our own players from the under 8 or from hockey school, skating school, up until to the men's team. And of course, the players have dreams to go also to the NHL, to the KHL, maybe Switzerland, maybe Sweden. But that's the basic idea. I'm going to use as an example my old employer. I worked 6 years for Pelicans Lahti. A mediocre club in Finland, has never won the Finnish championship in the men's league, have been once in the finals. Also struggled a long time with their junior development. Before I went to the under 20, we hadn't had one player in the men's team from our old juniors for 9 years. 9 years, not one player had made the men's team, so our own junior program was poor. We had only 2 players in youth national teams, or in under 16, under 17, under 18, or under 20 national teams. We took a different approach. That's actually also the reason why I probably got my new job at FIHA. And during those 2 years, we got 11 players to our men's team and 7 players to our junior national teams. So we made a big change there. Of course, it took a little bit longer time than 2 years. We started it already with the players in our under 16, under 18, but it brought also results, even though as a team, we didn't win any Finnish championship. But the great thing there is that not one men's club demands our junior clubs to win championships. Because it doesn't matter who wins the Finnish championship when you're playing under 16s. The players don't get anything for that. The clubs don't get anything for that. But if we can develop a player or a goalie to our men's team, we save money a lot, and we can get even compensation if they go to the NHL due to they have to pay development money to the Finnish clubs then. So then there's money involved also. But there's a reason why, in a way, it's useless to win a championship when you're in the 16s or 18s or 20s. Of course, we always want to win, but it's not priority number 1. In Lahti, men's elite league team plus junior and youth organization, 1 to 3 teams in each age group. So in the under 8s, we have 4 teams. In the under 10s, in the under 9s, we have maybe 3 teams, and it goes until the under 14 when there's only 1 team anymore. Pelicans has 2 full-time goalie coaches. One is responsible for the men's team goalies and the under 20 goalies, and he mentors the goalie coach from the under 18. Then there's one full-time goalie coach who's responsible for the under 18, and he mentors the goalie coach from the under 16. We have 9 goalie coaches in addition, or we had in Lahti, who work as volunteers, and one is responsible for the age groups under 12 and under 15, so he mentors those goalie coaches, and then one goalie coach is responsible for mentoring the youngest age groups goalie coaches. So there's always a help. There's always a group of goalie coaches who work together, and through that they get a lot of peer evaluation also, and they got through that also they can develop themselves and find new ways of how to work with younger goalies or older goalies. And the club's head goalie coach runs 1 start course every year in their own club. If they're not licensed by FIHA for that, then the regional mentor goalie coach comes over to the club and runs that start course over there. So there's every year in one of these big clubs, there's a possibility to start goalie coaching through an education program. And every goalie coach can attend regional courses of level 1 every year, and those are paid by the club. So they're free in a way. So that's the way how the Finnish ice hockey system tries to get new people involved in the sport as coaches, that it's free to educate yourself. It's possible always to get new knowledge. It costs for the club something, but it's free for the goalie coaches.
No niin, lähtee tulee! Hei! Mikä tää nyt oikein on? Häh? Tästä mä ite näytän.
Pelicans, faster than ever.
Yeah, maybe somebody of you recognize who that was. That was Pasi Nurminen. He made it in Atlanta to be a starter, and he's actually a part owner of Pelicans Lahti at the moment, and now actually also the assistant coach for the men's team. He just took over that job, and the goalie who was there was Niko Hovinen. He tried to make it in Philadelphia, didn't make it, went to the minors and plays now in Sweden actually in the elite series and there, but maybe not. Maybe that's not the way we work with goalies. But I think the thing there is that you should understand the structure of the clubs, how they try to develop their own coaches, who then of course develop the players and the goalies they have in the clubs. So then a little bit to my own child in a way. I love to speak about individuals, and goalies are, even though they are a little bit special, it's an athlete, it's a human being, and we should be there for them. I always like to say that the biggest question for a coach is that, are the players there for him, or is he there for the players? And that should be also a question that every coach should ask for himself. What's the reason we are there? And if we think about working with an individual goalie, we believe that a goalie consists out of four big sections. So there's the tactical knowledge, there's the technical knowledge, there's physical attributes, and there's mental attributes. And out of those four comes the goalie, and out of those four comes also the goalie, how he reacts, how he plays in games. And if we think of this, that we divide these into specific areas, then it starts to be pretty easy how to develop one specific thing. But all four qualities have to be developed every day in every practice. The reason why I believe that this is the sequence, all four are equal, so we need all four, but I believe that this is the sequence how it goes. The mental attributes, self-confidence, feeling responsible, optimal arousal level, those are the base for everything. Without those, even though you would have the technical skills, the tactical skills, the physical attributes, you won't make it in game situations. You won't make a long-term practice plan through. After mental attributes comes the tactical knowledge, recognizing the situation, making a decision. That's of course hockey sense. That's a goalie's hockey sense. Technical knowledge is just a tool to implement the tactical knowledge. Technical knowledge, of course, we talk about movement, skating, we talk about basic puck stopping skills, we talk about stick handling. So just the tools which you use to implement your tactical skills. And then the physical attributes, speed, stamina, balance, mobility, those things, those are tools which you use to do your technical skills. That's in a way the sequence we believe in. And this is the biggest thing here. Without that, it's impossible to play a game. But all four should be practiced, all four should be developed, and should be emphasized every day, in every practice. As goalie coaches, it's pretty easy. You have only 2 to 3 in your team. As coaches, you have 24 or 25, and still we would have to find for each individual our own way. And that's pretty much the biggest challenge there is. But I believe it can be solved if you are really and truly there for your athlete. I'm going to go quickly through what this would mean and how you could do it. Mental attributes, so this box should be emphasized. This is the most important one. Development of self-confidence. It's not rocket science. We're not psychologists or psychiatrists, but we have to try to find positive things in the game. Shutouts. What did you feel during shutouts? Where are you good at? Of course, also self-evaluation, that when the goalie knows where he's good at, but also his weaknesses, self-knowledge goes up. Through that he can be open. He doesn't have to hide anything. Self-confidence goes up again. Development of feeling responsibility of doings, sayings, that's the demands of the training process. If you want to do it for 10 to 15 years, well, you gotta have that one on and off the ice. If you say that you're gonna do something, then you should also do it. If he doesn't do it, he has said that his dream is to become an NHL goalie. He says, yeah, I want to be an NHL goalie, and the coach can tell him, yeah, okay, you got to do this and this. Are you going to do that? He says, yes. That should be enough. We don't have to force them to do anything what they don't want to do, because if we force them, they're not going to do it 100%. But if they themselves want to do it, then we can just be, in a way, spectators there and let them do it. Development of optimal arousal level. A big thing, which we have been talking in Finland a lot about in our national teams and in our club level, is that we have to be able to teach this to players already when they're 14 to 15. They won't know how to do it when they're 14 to 15, but if we start the process, they will have a big skill in that one when they're 19 to 20 to 21. Usually they start talking to players about their own feelings and how they will react to certain situations on the ice when they're in men's teams. So they started when they're 22 or 23. They maybe know themselves well enough when they're 30 or 31. So if we started when they're 14, they might already know it when they're 20, and then they have a huge advantage to their peers around the world or inside Finland. So a really big thing. And I believe firmly that when this box is in order, all those other 3 boxes, they will almost automatically come. The goalie will do all the work necessary to reach his or her own dreams. And again, it's the goalie's dream. It's not the coach's dream we should be after. Tactical knowledge, of course, recognizing the game situation. So what does that mean? What's hockey sense for a goalie? How many players are in the zone? Is the situation for our team equal, outnumbered, overnumbered? Communication with players through that. The goalie has to always open his mouth. Does the opponent have the puck in control? Is it bouncing? Can you, in that situation, maybe challenge the shooter a little bit more? What options does the attacking player have? This happens, of course, in 0.2 seconds when he recognizes the situation and makes the decision after that. Hockey sense, I'm sure that everybody knows what it is, but it's always important also to go it through to the goalie. Doesn't matter what we know if our athlete doesn't know it. He has to know what the deal is. Technical knowledge, tools, movement skills, stand up on the ice, basic puck stopping skills. We talk about butterfly, half butterfly, stand up saves, stick handling techniques, shooting, passing, intercepting, passes and poke checks, all these kind of things. So just tools to implement your tactical knowledge. And of course, physical attributes, what the goalie needs. Powerful core, powerful legs, movements on the ice demand specific things, mobility, strength in your upper body that you can use also your hands well. Finland, of course, I'm sure, or I don't know if you have had an idea about what Finnish goalies look like normally. They're pretty technical in some terms. They try to catch the puck, not block the puck. So that's in a way a philosophical question, but I think it has changed also a lot in North America. North American goalies are way better these days in catching the pucks than they were, let's say, 10 years ago maybe. This is the big thing. The journey is the thing. The result will come through it. Of course, everybody knows now what this is. Tuukka Rask went from a small club in Savonlinna when he was 16 to Ilves, which is a SM League club. And there he played in juniors first, and then he went to the men's team. And from the men's team then, I think that Toronto Maple Leafs made their biggest mistake ever in trading him away before he even went to Toronto. I think to Andrew Raycroft or something. I'm not sure. But now we have a Vezina winner there. And I know that he's... Now the big question now is, what's the next picture? He's 87 born, so once he's 28, he still has 10 years of playing time. Then I believe at least that he has a growth mindset. He wants to get better all the time. He has Kaizen inside him. I know that it's not the perfect goalie, not even close. But again, the journey that he makes, the choices that he makes during that journey, that should be the big issue. And we had a Finnish speed skater called Pekka Koskela. Pekka Koskela was in the Vancouver Olympics, 500 meter speed skater. And you get the gold medal at the Olympics by making the 500 meters 2 times. And you combine the results of those ones, the time, and of course, the one wins who's the fastest. After the first 500 meters, Koskela was leading, and at the second 500 meters, in the second curve, he slipped a little bit, just a little bit, and he came in the goal, and he was 5th. After that, of course, the reporters come and ask the nice question every athlete wants to know, well, how do you feel now? Of course, he said, yeah, I hate this feeling, I'm so disappointed. And that 10 years of his life was washed away, was flushed down the toilet. 2 days after that, they again interviewed him, and he had calmed down, and he said, well, that was a bad thing to say. Actually, those 10 years were the best time of his life. When he made the decision that he wants to pursue for the gold medal at the Olympics, he wants to be the best in the world, and he made all decisions that an athlete needs to make. Okay, this time it was just a few thousandths of a second that took it away, but still that lifespan he enjoyed. And I think that should be also one thing that we should teach our goalies, our athletes, when they pursue their own dreams. Tools for development. So what we use, the biggest tool for all athletes in our hockey system is a long-term athlete development plan, and we try to give ownership of that to the athlete himself. So we try to teach our athletes to plan by themselves, to execute that plan by themselves, and also evaluate that plan by themselves. And through that, the player gets the feeling of autonomy. Now, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. So that's a huge thing, because you will never make a long-term process if you don't have intrinsic motivation. And science says that intrinsic motivation consists of 3 things: feeling competent, feeling of autonomy, and feeling of fellowship. The feeling competent and feeling of fellowship, that comes pretty easily in a hockey team. Feeling of fellowship, that you feel that you belong to something, that comes inside a team. Feeling competent, of course, that you're good at something. That's our job also as coaches, that we have to nurture that feeling. But then the feeling of autonomy, that's left out almost all the time. Because we are afraid as coaches that we lose control if we give something to the athletes, if they're allowed to choose by themselves something. But that has to be there. Of course, an individual goalie, he has to feel that he's competent, he's good. And for that, some Finnish guy, I don't know who it is, and I don't care who it is. It's just one tool to use maybe raise a goalie's confidence. A game evaluation through facts. So when you look at goalie stats after games, there's the saving percentage, and there's the goals allowed per game, goals allowed average per game, and those are the 2 biggest ones that everybody look at. In Finland, somebody made a new kind of evaluation. I have nothing to do with it, and actually our team doesn't use it, but I think it's in a way pretty genius, because it doesn't demolish a goalie's confidence even if he plays in a bad team. Because many goalies who play in a bad team, they let in 5 or 6 goals a game, but still they can be pretty damn good goalies. Well, scoring areas, everybody has their own way of doing it, but area 1, area 2, 3, 4, this is a base for the evaluation sheet, and it's an Excel sheet. And actually, USA Hockey has had it for a long time. Kevin has it he took it from me a couple of years ago, and it counts a success index and not a saving percentage. So the idea is that there's 9 different kind of scoring situations. There's a regular shot, drive to the net, shot from a sideways movement, shot from a sideways pass, shot from a lateral pass, etc., etc., etc. And then there's the scoring areas 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one of those gives a certain amount of points when you make a save from those. If you make a save from area 1, which is close to the net, that gives you more points than a shot from the middle zone, because it's a harder save to make. So this sheet, in a way, really evaluates the performance of the goalie more than just how many goals he let in or how many saves he had. So for example, here we have a goalie who has played a game where he had 22 saves. You can see it there. 22 saves, 7, 8, and 7, and 0 from 3 different areas. Not one shot came from area 4. And he let in 3 goals, all from area 1. So saving percentage would be 88.0, or I think in North America they show it 0.888, or the saving percentage. And that would not be a good saving percentage. But on the other hand, all the goals have been 2 breakaways and 1 rebound from area 1. There's a lot of scoring situations from area 1. So it has been a pretty hard game for the goalie. This sheet counts a success index over 91.3, which tells that the goalie has played a good game. So this is a way of taking away the team around the goalie. Because sometimes really good teams have pretty bad goalies, but they look good in stats because they win games. Of course, winning is the most important thing. But if we go all the way to the highest level, and we talk now about development of goalies, then we have to see a little bit behind those facts. And I got to say, in a way, this has been a pretty good way for that. And through that also, of course, here are other paragraphs also. You can do this for the whole season. You can see what kind of situations does the goalie like, what kind of saves does he do, what kind of goals does he let in always. So in a way it gives knowledge, but for me the biggest thing is that it doesn't demolish his self-confidence, which can happen when you're in a bad team and you let in a lot of goals, especially in little kids. Let's say under 10 to under 16. Because sometimes you have a really good goalie in a bad team, but he just lets in 5-6 goals because there's 100 shots per game. The growth of the goalie, I think every individual has to play all positions until he's 10 to 12. You all are already coaching probably at a little bit higher level, but I had a great opportunity now with my first selection at the national team. We selected our first 44 players, or four goalies and 40 players, and I had a camp just before I left to Prague and over here with them, and I interviewed every player and goalie also. I want to know them, and I asked the best goalie, who was chosen the best goalie at the camp, that, okay, when did you start playing ice hockey? He said when he was 10. I asked him, okay, as a goalie, or were you a player before that? No. He started playing ice hockey when he was 10. So he has played only 4 years of ice hockey. And he's our best goalie at the moment. Either we have really bad goalies, or then that's just, again, an affirmation about that you don't have to start when you're 4. This kid had played all other sports. He wanted to be a goalie. He had asked for 3 years to get equipment from his parents, but they didn't want to buy it. It's so expensive, and hockey is a dangerous game. But he got his way through, and now he was the best goalie at our first national team camp. So again, I would emphasize the idea of letting them play whatever positions and never sit on the bench when they're still young. Because being a goalie is not an early specialization sport. Carey Price, maybe the best goalie this year in the NHL, is now way better than he was when he was 19 or 20. And we tend to say already, if you don't get drafted, or if you don't make it with your first contract to the NHL, that it's over. And I would hope that we would get away from that one. I know that our country in that kind of things is also some kind of picture of that you get that picture from us there. I know it's not easy, but we have to do it. We don't have so many players, so we have to keep everybody there. And we want to be the best nation in the world, like the Swedes, like the Americans, like the Canadians, like the Russians, like the Czech guys, Switzerland, Germany. Everybody wants to be the best when we compete, but on the other hand, I think it's just the sport is so great that we have to be able to share the knowledge and help, because the passion is the same for everybody, to get better always. And I think we should remember that one. That's the biggest thing there is. Overall, I think the biggest thing, because somebody asks always, what's the secret behind Finnish goalies? They asked it in Prague, and now I have the answer ready, so I don't have to give it again. The most important thing, what I believe, why they have developed so well, is that the kids from 8 to 20, from there to 30, they have somebody with them. They have some guy there taking care of them. There's trust between the goalie coach and the goalie. You can ask almost all goalie coaches that they have a pretty special relationship with their goalies. Sometimes the head coaches are so pissed off at the goalies that they say to the goalie, okay, come on, you got to do something that he catches one fucking puck, sorry. But that's the truth. And then the goalie coach he goes to the goalie and says, well, the head coach was a little bit pissed off, but I'm on your side. We're going to work on this. We believe that this is the reason that from 8 to 20, somebody is there with them the whole time. Even though they would have no idea about the game, but there's somebody there. They feel that they are taken care of. And through that, they are willing to go the path, 20 years, 25 years, what it takes to get to their own maximum potential there. The goalies should be taught already in younger years the concept of self-evaluation. Leads to better self-confidence. So they have to evaluate themselves also. They have to be the guys who want to get better. They have to be the guys who knows what they have to do. I think it would be a perfect world in a way if our athletes would know more than we. Because they're the guys who are on the ice. They're the guys who make the decisions. They're the guys who play. Unfortunately, the time when we played is over already. It would be great if they would know more. Probably that will never happen, and somebody has to be always the guy who sets the boundaries. I believe in that firmly. But our athletes have to have knowledge, they have to have tools how to evaluate themselves. I think being a goalie is the greatest thing in the world to do. I still love going sometimes on the ice. Stopping the puck feels great. Probably you won't understand that ever. Maybe somebody has done it before. I know that the other goalie coaches have done it. You also try to emphasize the fun to your goalies. It's nice to stop the puck. And as a last comment, the goalies are best at the ages of 28 to 35 and not 18. Thank you that you had the time to listen. A last video.
I've been playing hockey all my life. I like the excitement of the games. The crowds, the intensity. But if you want to be the best, you got to be willing to practice. You gotta come out here alone, just you and the ice. That's what separates the guys who play to win from the guys who just play. Stay home on Sundays, but that would be too easy.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks, Tommy. Are there any questions? We got a couple of minutes here in this space.
Not maybe so much goalie related, but you mentioned that the Pelicans went from not getting guys to the national level to put in a plan. Can you expand a little bit on that plan and how that translated into more guys onto the national team?
Yeah, so the idea was that we started giving autonomy to our players in choosing what they do. Every player of our team in our under 20 had their own personal development plan for all 4 sections of the game: the technical, the tactical, the mental, and the physical. And they planned that plan by themselves with the help of coaches, of course. So the idea was that I felt that 24 hours, 24 players, it should be in a way that if I want to take care of my players, I have to have 1 hour per player per day. And there's not enough time. So when we expanded to 24 players having their own plan, what they are doing, what they are executing every day, then we have time. And in a way, we changed the idea into more that we were managers of, we coaches were managers of their individual plans. So we were just taking care that they evaluate them. We were there when they make their new goals. They had always 1 goal per section. So they had 1 goal for 2 or 3 months for the tactical side, 1 goal for the technical side, 1 goal for the mental side, and 1 goal for the physical side. And the physical side, the cycle was a little bit different because you got to change things from 6 to 8 weeks already. But on those 3 others, they worked on those 3 things. In morning practice, skills. In evening practice and in games, they did their tactical side always, and the mental side, of course, in all life. And then after 3 months, they evaluated what has happened. Do we have to change the goal, or can we keep on going with the same thing? And this was just in a way to make sure that they have motivation to do it, because when it's their own thing, they do it. Then, of course, there's also the team side on the other hand. So I took care of team dynamics, team tactics, and group cohesion and stuff like that, which every team has. But individual development went through the players by themselves, and it brought out tremendous results. So that was pretty much it. Of course, when we had the discussion with the player that what his next goal is, I tried to gently steer him towards something that I believe now maybe shooting would be a good thing you have to do. But if the player doesn't think so, even though if I tell him you got to do this, you have to do this, it's not his thing, and he will do it, no problem there, but he won't do it with 110% effort every day for 3 months. But if it's his own thing, then he might have the motivation and intrinsic motivation for that he's going to do it. And it was interesting to see the results. I know it's not the most common way of thinking, that we try to get the player into the equation also. That they are not just passive chess pieces that we move somewhere, but that they get interest in their own thing. They come and ask for game videos. Not that, okay, now come over here, now let's look videos. But they say that, okay, I have to be better at my forecheck, I have to do my defensive play better. I say, okay, games, practices, those are the places you got to work on that. I'm going to remind you of that. And then after a week, maybe after 2 weeks, he comes, could we look at those? Because I feel that nothing has happened. And then I'm there, and then I can coach. That was the way that we did it. It didn't happen in 1 year, so we started it already because I had the great opportunity to go up with these boys from under 16 to under 18 to under 20. So with some guys I worked for 6 years, with some guys only 2 years. But we started it in slow steps, and in the end they were able to plan their own physical practice plan as well almost as our coaching staff, which is great. When they go away to some other team somewhere, they know how to work if there's nobody who tells them. That was pretty much it.
Along those lines, Tommy, you want to tell them about the on-ice practice this afternoon? What was going to
Yeah, so I can maybe tell it now already. So according to that individual development plan, the idea was there that evening practices are team practices. Evening practice on the ice is where we practice our team tactics and special teams and whatever we do with 5 players on the ice or small area games. But morning practice, which was 3 times a week, it's according to school also, so it's inside school in a way. We did only skills practices, and those skills were only those things that the guys had made up themselves. So that skill that they had chosen that they want to develop, which meant that we have on our ice maybe 16 players who can have 4 to 5 different things they're working on. And then the player works by himself on that thing for a certain amount of time. We divided it so that there's 10 minutes of playing first, then there's 30 to 40 minutes working on only that one skill. So Matthias works on this one, and Timo works on that one, and he works on that one, and he works on that one. And then there's at the end again 20 minutes of playing different small area games. And that was our morning practice which was only skills development. And if I would say a player that now we're going to do the next 2 months, every morning only skating techniques, nothing else, he might get bored. And the motivation would not be there. But when the player himself chooses that, he has more motivation in doing that one. And we had 3 groups. We had a skating group, we had a shooting group, and then we had a miscellaneous group where there was stick handling and skating versatility and deking and stuff like that. So we're going to try to demo that today on the second ice, that there's 2 groups on the ice. There's a shooting group, and then there's this miscellaneous group where there's 6 guys doing different things.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you.